What is up? My name is Melissa Makak, and this is a quick reviews, or my version of quick reviews, of the hot games area in Dice Tower East 2022. So I'm going to go through each of the games that I've gotten to play and or hopefully teach at the convention itself. And just give my kind of like really first impressions of the games, because most of them I only got to really play one or two times. Some of them I got to play multiple times. Now, two games I'm going to kind of like knock off the list here is Lost Ruins of Arnak and Dune Imperium. Because, so both of those games I actually really love, but I've only gotten to play with the base game of those games. Now, I think they were in the hot games area because both of them came with the expansion, and I didn't get to play either one with the expansion itself, so I'm not going to really talk about those. Now, starting off with the list is Star Wars Villainous, right on here. Now, judging by the fact that I actually own this game, we went out and bought this game at Target, you could probably surmise that I like this game. But anyway, so with this one, if you like Villainous, you might like this game if you like Star Wars, okay? Now, if you did not like Disney Villainous, the original Disney Villainous games, you're most likely not going to like this game unless the only thing holding you back was that it was not as complex maybe as you would like it if you wanted a more meaty experience, and or you didn't quite like the theme, but you like the Star Wars theme. This game adds more complexity to the game. It for sure does. I will say that with Disney Villainous, I will never play with more than two other players. So I will play a 3-player game of Villainous. But with this game, I will play with the full player count. I think this one goes up to 4, and that's fine for me. And the reason being, in Disney Villainous, I think it just takes too long. I like the game enough, but it just takes too long. This game adds a little something. There's different kinds of currency where you're playing with the Force. There's a new area you can add with the vehicles that you place on your board, and now you have a new location you could go to. But then, like the Fate deck, there's new vehicles or fate vehicles, like hero vehicles that could be placed on it and ruin your day and everything. So it's really interesting and very cool. My only qualm is that it does not come with enough components. And I'm talking about like the Force tokens and the money, the credit tokens and everything. There was just pretty much every game I played, we were running out because you gain Force at the start of every turn, but you might not have cards to spend it on. And so we were just running out of the components, and that was a problem. But in either case, I really like this because it added more meat to the game. I love the Star Wars theming in the game, and so this one gets a 2 thumbs up from me. I'm going old school with the thumb ratings that the Dice Tower used to use. Next up is Ark Nova. Now, this game has been getting a lot of love and a lot of craze. Now, I did get to play this game a couple of times, and you're building out your own zoo. It's got the polyomino stuff going, kind of. You're placing these pieces on your own board, and it's a lot of card play, and there's a lot of abilities that will go off, and you're trying to figure out, first of all, part of it is like remembering what abilities you have. It's not the end of the world, like they make it kind of easy, but you can forget what you have going on. Yeah, and you're just trying to get like the most victory points in a very interesting way. I like it where like the game ends when one person like crosses their prestige and their, I guess like their ticket value or something like that. And when they cross, and what you're trying to do is have them be farthest apart from each other because you're going to subtract it, and that's your final score. So you could have negative points in this game. I will say this was a crunchy game. It was thinky. The rules overhead is a lot, but once you're actually playing the game, everything really flows to the point where it makes sense, all of the rules, which I really enjoyed, and I liked that about Ark Nova. I guess for me, there was something about the game where I was like, I like it. I don't know if I would pull it off the shelf. That was me personally. I would have no problem if somebody else had the game and they wanted to play it. I will play the game and have a really good time. I don't know if I want to personally own the game. It might be the theme itself or the look of the game, or honestly, I kind of just think that the game takes too long for what it is. It doesn't give me that like epic feel. Like if you're gonna be like a 2.5-hour game, I want it to feel really epic. But Ark Nova doesn't really feel that way for me. Other people will disagree, but I'm going to give it a good old 1.5 thumbs up. So that's Ark Nova. Next up is Transmissions. Transmissions was such a charming game. You've got these little robots that you're going around. It's a rondel system, and you have these cards in your hand, right? Everybody has the same deck of cards, but you're going to be playing, you have your own draw because everybody shuffles it up. You have, I think it's like 3 cards in your hand. You play one, and what's interesting is you start to kind of build a little bit of an engine if you're really thinking forward about it. Because when you play that card, it doesn't just get discarded and then shuffled. No, it goes under the deck face down. So it just kind of keeps on replaying what you're doing. And you get to, so not, you don't control just one robot. You control all of them, essentially. You play a card and it tells you which robot you get to move around this rondel. And you get certain abilities when you land on certain locations, and ultimately you're trying to get the most victory points. You're filling up your robot with ideas and inventions and things like that, which is cool. It's sort of in a dystopia world, but it doesn't feel sad, although the robots look sad. But it actually just feels really charming. I really liked this one. It was easy to learn and pick up, and it didn't last too long. I think it didn't overstay its welcome. It was fun to play, and it's gonna give I'm gonna give it a nice old 2 thumbs up. Next up is Return to Dark Tower from Restoration Games. Now this game I was a little bit skeptical about because it's got this big tower, which is cool, and I had heard interesting things about this game, that it was like too randomized and luck based and everything. And then I wound up playing it, and I have to say, oh my gosh, this game was amazing. It was not like super luck-based. I didn't feel that way anyway. Now, yes, there are things that you can't account for, right? It's a cooperative style game, and there's so many different variables that could go into it because the replayability is through the roof because there's different scenarios that you could play, but then also like different variations within each of the scenarios, which is really cool. And each of the characters that you're playing has their own sort of special abilities that you could do. And they do something the best out of anybody else, sort of. But anyway, so each objective might be different from scenario to scenario and game to game. And you are going around this beautiful playmat. I would say if you're going to get the game, get the playmat as well because it's awesome. And so, yeah, so we went around that, and you're trying to, there's some like pandemic stuff going on where there's these skulls coming out, and if any one location has like 3 skulls, and then you have to add another skull, like bad things happen, kind of like in Pandemic, right? But this is its own game, and the tower itself, like it turns and it lights up, and actually I thought that it would be even better in a non-convention space because it makes noises, this tower, and it really gets you into the zone and the world that you're playing in. And so I felt like because I couldn't quite hear the sounds in the convention, it was taking me a little bit out of it. But even still, with everything else going on, I was in the theme, man. And it was just great. Like you get your actions and you're going around and you have like your own set area that's like yours that you want to defend and everything. And certain things that happen on the tower can affect you personally because that's your area. But you can go off and help other people in other areas and things like that. And it was awesome. So this gets like 3,000 thumbs up for me. This is right up my alley. Thematic galore, interesting decision making, and just replayability again like is amazing, and the production value was fantastic. Although Dice Tower does upgrade everything. They have everything upgraded in their library and in the hot games area, so I'll say that. So that was Return to Dark Tower. Next up for me is X-Men United with the Sentinels expansion. I love what's it called? Marvel United. That was gifted to me by a viewer of mine, which is super kind of them, and I have really enjoyed that game. This is a cooperative style game where you take on one of these superheroes, and this one is specifically X-Men, and I had not played X-Men at all for Marvel United, and I've not played with the Sentinels. The X-Men themselves were very cool. I liked them as superheroes and what they did and their special abilities. Like Wolverine was really great at being the aggressive person, and Storm was really great at like moving around on the board and controlling things. It just made sense, which was cool, and I liked that. The Sentinels themselves, they are eye-catching for sure. It was awesome. I loved playing with them. At the same time, I thought they were kind of fiddly. I thought the rules for the Sentinels was, it just added things that, I mean, I love Marvel United because it's so simple and quick to play, but the Sentinels kind of just made it a little too much. And like I said, it was just fiddly to figure out like, oh, okay, I played this card, and so because I played this card, the Sentinel does this action, and then also, okay, once we defeat all the Sentinels, the villain comes out, and you can really only play with the Sentinels if you're playing with, I forgot the name of the villain. It starts with an N. Nemosa or something. I don't remember. Yeah, I think they can really only be played with that. I guess you could play them with other things just to kind of get in your way. I don't know. But yeah, I liked it, but I was hoping that it would, I don't know. I was just hoping for something else, I guess. I liked the epic feeling, but at the end of the day, I just found them to be too fiddly for what they were really adding to the game. So I'm going to give it a 1 thumbs up for me. Marvel United with the Sentinels. Next up is Planet Unknown, another game that we have. Actually, we got this. I actually kickstarted this, or I backed it on Kickstarter. I didn't kickstart it. I backed it on Kickstarter, and that's because I had already played it on the Sovereignty app, which, by the way, is a fantastic app if you haven't already checked it out. But anyway, so Planet Unknown is, you're kind of like terraforming this planet in a way where you're really trying to gain its resources and things like that. And you're a corporation, and everybody's got their own planet. You could play it where everybody has the same planet and you all have the same like resource track that you're going up on. Or you could do asymmetry. You could flip it over and everybody's got a different planet that they're working with. You could flip over the track board, the resource track board, and everybody has now a different corporation and they work differently, which is really interesting and cool. What I love about this game, it's got the Lazy Susan where you're spinning that around and it's got polyominoes, you're taking it and you're putting on the planet, which I really love. That's a lot of fun. But where the really interesting things come in is the resource track, because every time you place a token on your board, or a polyomino tile on your board, certain resources will go up, and you could start comboing things because you could land on a wild space, which allows you to move up on another track, and you're just going up and you're gaining points, and then as well, you're fighting for objective points with your neighbors. So if it's a 3-player game, like me and Susan over here are fighting over one objective, while me and Justin are fighting over another objective over there, while Justin and Susan are fighting for a different objective that I'm taking no part in, which is really awesome. That I thought that was really interesting. You can also play with private objectives that you're also going for, all for points and getting points at the end of the game. This game I really, really like. I've been really loving it. It's super easy too. It's like the rules itself, the rules overhead, very simple. Playing the game is super breezy. This game takes about an hour, but it feels epic, and I love that. And I love the space theme, of course. I just really like space. Anyway, this gets definitely 2 thumbs up for me. That is Planet Unknown. Last up on this list is Wild Serengeti, where you are photographers and you're like placing these animals. The components of this game is beautiful. It's definitely eye-catching. You got like these actual like plastic miniature animals like the giraffes and wait, did it have giraffes? It might have had giraffes and like rhinos and whatever, bears and stuff, and you're placing them out on the board, and you're trying to get certain configurations out on the board to complete objectives, and you're trying to get like a snapshot of it to add to your portfolio. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. Now, I will say this game took way too long. Just like I think I played it once, and I played it for 3 hours, I think it was, with folks, and I just felt so bad because everybody wanted this game to just be over. It was a total of, I believe, 6 rounds, and it needed to be cut down to maybe 3 rounds, I think. It just took way too long. It was not worth playing for 3 hours, what you're doing. And I felt like the theme was odd, where you're, maneuvering the animals and then taking a photo. It was bizarre to me. Yeah, I don't know. There was no real thematic tie to the game in terms of what you were doing. I don't know. And then you couldn't really plan ahead, because so that was the other reason the game took so long, because players would think on their turn, and you can't plan ahead really because the board state changes so much, and you're all playing on the same board, and you have your own set of cards that you're trying to accomplish, and somebody could mess it up, and it's being messed up constantly. So that could be really annoying, for one. I didn't mind that so much. It was more so that, like, it just then took much longer for you to figure out, okay, do I even complete any of these objectives? Let me look. And then what can I do on my turn to sort of help me progress towards what I need to do? But at the same time, it's like, if I can't do it right now, I'll try to set myself up and then hope that nobody messes with it. And that's the best you could do, really. It was just way too long. Again, for what it was. At first, I really liked it. And then it went south pretty quickly. And I did go over, because I wanted to see if other players were having this problem, that it just took too long. And pretty much every single time I went over to a group that was playing the game, I was like, hey, how long has this game been taking? They're like, it's been a long time. And so people were just, it seemed like they weren't liking it. It was about 2 to 3 hours this game was. And this game should be like 45 minutes maximum, I think. I think I heard of one group playing it in under 2 hours, or that it took them about an hour to play it. Ultimately, the components were fantastic. I love the look of the game, but the game itself was just not for me. And like I said, just way too long. So this actually gets like 2 thumbs down from me. Wild Serengeti, which is really unfortunate. Beautiful game, but just didn't hit the mark. Anyway, that was my quickly reviews, my first impressions of the Hot Games area, the games in the Hot Games area of Dice Tower East 2022. I will catch you next time. Have a good one.